Hey,
Hello,
hello
everyone.
everyone. Hi, Shao. How are you?
I'm
How are
good,
you?
man. How are you guys?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Keeping busy. Yeah. Let's
It's good to
today.
have you here, Shao. I think we planned this out like a month ago, and we're finally doing this. It's quite exciting to just start discussing about Gen AI. I'm particularly very excited about this area in general. So really happy to have you on board here.
Definitely is. I mean, market has been red hot on this topic for how many months now? Ever since ChatGPT came out and changed the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
So it's been not even a roller coaster ride. It's just been the roller coaster's been going up all the way. So it's good. It's a good time to talk about it. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely. Our
Definitely.
pleasure, Shao. Thank you.
And Chao, if the market you have also been red hot. So we like we were just talking the other day. We scheduled this session with you, and by that time, I think you have been on two podcasts as well. So one was with Rob, and other was with Ashu and Dhruv as well. So it's been just like we saw your name there.
Yeah, I mean, these requests all come in one after the other. Apparently,
Yeah,
this month is a good month for podcasts, and I've never done one before, and this is the first time I'm doing one on live streaming. So, really
amazing.
fun. I am really appreciative that you have me here.
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. Yeah. All right. So let's start off. I think we have got a few people who've joined us from different channels. Let's start off with a quick round of introductions. So starting with you, Shah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, my name is Shao. I am actually a part of ServiceNow. I'm a solution consultant on the creator workflows team. And if you're not familiar with that naming or whatever else we call our products these days, creator workflows are made up of two main products, App Engine as well as Automation Engine. So I am in charge of anything that is using our platform to build custom applications as well as integrating the third-party systems, whether it's using web-based integrations or RPA integrations. That part of the business belongs to me. So I look after Asia primarily, and the team that we have covers the entire Asia Pacific region, but we've extended teams outside of the world as well. I've been in the ecosystem. I was just catching up with Hanit before this. I'm still a baby in this. Everyone here is definitely much smarter than me in this sense. And yeah, I've been here for 2.5 years, and it's been an amazing journey. I learn something new every day, and always very blessed to be able to speak to MVPs like Ishan and Hani. So that's about me. Over to you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks so much,
and
Shao.
I just like to add. So Shao is also the organizer for ServiceNow developer meetups in Singapore, and like he's just I think I've been following you, Shao, like before. They started taking up this Gen AI, but you have also been putting out a lot of content on your YouTube channel as well for App Engine Studio. So I think you also had a name, App Engine Shao, right?
Yes, that's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, nice.
So yeah, that one started as a side project, but somehow it grew pretty big, close to 1,000 subscribers now. I never thought that I would have a YouTube channel like this, but yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. And RP
Amazing.
is also red hot right now. So you build with RP challenges going on.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that going around. I actually haven't tried it for myself. Ashamed to admit, but yeah, I will get to it soon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Shah. So over to you, Hani.
Thanks, Ishan. Again, my name is Harneet Seetal. I work with Accenture as a technical architect. I am also I've completed my CTA. I am a developer MVP as well. Again, ServiceNow is quite an exciting space, and I've been in this area. I've been working on this platform for about 7 years now. Again, I'm a baby as well, Shao, because there are tons of things on the platforms. Again, not an expert, or maybe I haven't explored all the bits of the platform, but again, quite excited to be here on this stream along with you to talk about this Gen AI again, quite the buzzword since the knowledge last year, and of course since ChatGPT has came out. So I think a lot of excitement in this area.
Yep.
Thanks, Ishan.
Nice.
Over to you.
All right. So about myself, I'm Ishan. I'm a certified technical architect and a ServiceNow developer MVP. I'm working with EY as a solution architect, and yeah, just love working with the platform. And yeah, the way it's going, it's just amazing. Looking forward to the future, what comes next.
Absolutely.
All right. So Gen AI, Shao, like the buzzword, like everyone is pretty excited about. We still have to get the hands on, and I think I attended your meetup as well, where you had built a particular solution using Gen AI. So I'll start with, like, you start with talking what exactly is Gen AI. What it just just starting with intro of Gen AI, and just telling everyone about it, what they can expect of Gen AI with ServiceNow, of course.
Well, if anyone here is still don't know what Gen AI is, it's not too late to get started. It's been some time since the world was changed with the immersion of ChatGPT. So it is really, so I'll just share a bit more for context, right? I am nowhere near an expert in this area. What I have, what experience I have is speaking with many customers who are trying to incorporate that into their strategies within the enterprises. So that's where I really come from. And to take in these thoughts, these use cases, these workflows to help them to make their work better, right? So ServiceNow, as we know it for the last however years it's been around, it's all about workflows. And now there's this great opportunity to introduce such game-changing technology to the platform to really change the way people work, right? It's no longer just about rules or AI that's not really accessible to the end user. Everything is very tangible now. And ServiceNow, within ServiceNow, we've been investing a lot in Gen AI capabilities. I think some of you might have seen generative AI controller. Some of you might have seen some demos for text to code. Some of you might have seen some demos for text to flow. It's just going to continue to grow, the adoption of this, the permeation of this technology in the rest of the platform. And I think it's an awesome thing, because what we're going to do more going forward is pay attention to the end user experience, right? What that means for the end user, the outcomes, and bring that back to the start, which is how can Gen AI help to reach the outcomes a lot quicker than if we were to use our traditional just flows, process automation designer. How can that part of things be accelerated so much more quickly? And that really excites me so much. And customers see that. All our customers really feel that quick development, and then our investment in Gen AI just is very bullish for a lot of them.
Nice.
Yeah, that was just a very quick introduction. I think we're gonna dive into some of these concepts later on today as well.
So, Shao, so if a customer is supposed to start its journey for Gen AI, what exactly would be their first step? So again, taking baby steps, how do a customer dive into the Gen AI side of the aspects on the platform?
So obviously we are going to add Gen AI to a lot of our out of the box capabilities, whether it's ITSM, HRSD, customer service management, and even on the creator workflow side, right, for app development. So really use those first as those come out, because those will be the ones that we have invested into, we've tested those, and they are ready to go, right, for user organization. So like I've spoken to someone the other day, having being able to work on someone else's experiment, which is ServiceNow's experiment, and able to see the outcomes from that, that's where then you can start thinking about your own custom use cases. How can we use the platform, which is the generative AI controller, then to work on our other custom use cases. So obviously roadmap, yeah, think about what we are offering. what's going to be in the products, learn from what is within that, how we have introduced that into the capabilities and the flows, and the logic that we have there, and how that, and then from then on continue to expand to other parts of your business. That would be the way forward.
I think bang on. Even for the developers, I think this will be the way forward if they want to learn about how to explore a bit more. Obviously, first thing again, I think I've got a similar experience with Service Portal when it came out. The way I started learning it was looking at out of the box widgets, trying to look at how the code works, integrates between the three layers when a widget is created, and then try and recreate something for the customer or something for our personal projects. So it's definitely the right way to start even from a developer's perspective. So thanks for that, Shah.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of service now is about breaking apart and then rebuilding. I think for me that I'm sure for everyone here that's the way most of you learn the platform. So this is no different, right? Because you can very easily trace back to where you've incorporated Gen AI. How is that functioning? How is that applied to a flow? You might not be close to the source technology, which is at the large language model level, right? But that should be transparent to you eventually as well. It's just how you use that in the workflows that you deliver. That's the most important part.
Absolutely makes sense.
Nice. And I was just about to ask this question, like, but will we be able to just relating that thing of using the out of the box available capabilities and building our own with? So yeah, you just said, but which is great. So looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Have either of you tried the generative AI controller yet? Is it available in PDIs? I haven't checked. Is it
It's
available there?
No, not it's not available in the PDIs yet, as of
Yeah.
my knowledge. I may be wrong, but yeah,
Okay.
it will take some time to be available. But I do have access to that in one of our demo instances.
Got
So
it. Got it.
yeah,
But I think we've seen it live even at Knowledge, and there are a
Mhm.
lot of been sessions.
yeah,
Again, a lot of live streams. Sorry, not live stream. I think there are a lot of content available on how to use AI controller, which is starting with Vancouver will be available on your customer environments as well. How to start utilizing some of those bits. So
Right.
yeah, I think we've
I think
seen it.
maybe just to level set for everyone else who haven't tried it, right? Generative AI controller right now, it's a few capabilities, but the main ones that is visible to the end users would be four actions that you'll be able to use. So that would be generate content, generic prompt, Q&A, as well as summarize. By far and large, summarize would be the most commonly used one, because of the data that the ServiceNow platform actually intakes, right? So in that use case, if there are multiple case notes, there are commands, then you can summarize out that into intents, into things like customer sentiment and everything else. So that's another great way to start understanding how those actions can be incorporated into the workflows as well and extend the current workflows that you have. Yeah, so that's Power Generative AI Controller, and I believe today is connecting to. You can choose the connection to either OpenAI or Azure, right? But I'm pretty sure that the product team will add more moving forward into other LLMs as well. Don't take my word for it, but that's what I've heard as well.
Perfect. So, Shah, maybe we start about talking about how will this help the developers. I think you talked about the key areas that are coming up
Yeah,
in the Gen AI platform, right? So maybe I think most of the people who join us on these kind of streams are usually developers. So maybe
sure.
first thing, if we talk about the code assistance side of the areas,
Hmm.
wherein we'll be seeing Gen AI doing its brilliant work.
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen here really quickly. So this is publicly
Absolutely.
accessible as well. Um,
so we have one of the comments that has come up in the chat. Uh, I don't think there are any companies who have implemented AI on the platform, so ServiceNow is lagging behind with Gen AI. So I think that's like AI has been there in ServiceNow for
Platform.
quite long now. So AI has been a part of ServiceNow in a lot of AI and machine learning capabilities, predictive intelligence, things like that. But Gen AI, it's just been launched, so I think it will take some it's not officially, like, what, uh, like the generic release of service in Vancouver. So once that is out, I think the people will start to adopt these capabilities, right?
Yep.
So any thoughts on that, Haneet and uh, Shah?
Yeah. We can let me just do that one first. So I think some of you have seen some of these slides, right? But like you mentioned, can you all see the screen online? Put up. Is the PowerPoint screen available?
It's not available right now.
Okay.
Yeah, hasn't
So
come up
yeah.
yet.
How about now? No.
No.
Nope.
Hmm.
I think there hasn't been too many live streams where we hadn't had technical glitches, so this is going the right path.
This one? Still no?
No.
Can't see it
Oh,
now.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, we never had that issue.
it's all right. Let me just figure this one out. Give me a minute, yeah.
Sure. Sorry.
Yeah. So while I'm loading that up, basically to that point, with I'm trying to digest the question a bit. When you're talking about implemented AI on the platform, not many companies have implemented it, so ServiceNow is lagging behind with Gen AI. Um, yes, let me try to take it this way. Basically, ServiceNow we have been implementing or taking over different capabilities since the timeline I have here is 2017, right?
Yeah.
Virtual agent, we bought over ML platform.
Mm.
Okay, let me do
There are
this.
quite a few things, right? Like, that's what I can remember. Predictive intelligence, and uh,
Yeah,
there are quite a few things that there's certain number of records that are required for you to have the AI and machine learning for those models. Even in basic, the natural language understanding capability of virtual agent is,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So
that,
I figure
And then
sorry, I figure why I can't share my screen, the settings and permissions. It's okay, I'll just talk through it. So yeah, so Palo for NLU, natural language queries that came in 2018. AI based search, so what you're familiar with AI search that came in
yes,
2019 with Artivio. Passage AI for multi-language natural language understanding, that's 2020. Loom for AI operations or AI ops, as we like to call it, 2020. Enterprise AI, Element AI came in 2021 together with IntelliBot, which is our RPA capability. If you're not aware as well, we also bought over a company in 2021. That time it's called Gecko Brain to do ERP customization, and it's just been a continuous cycle. So Gen AI fits into these and complements these really well. In the case that is evolving technologies that comes together on the platform. So to that point, yeah, it's right that many companies are
mm,
taking AI as experiments. A lot of the customers, at least I speak to, they have been bullish over AI for the last how many 5 to 10 years, right? But never been really able to get that into a environment that works as how they expect it, because it's always been very back end. Machine learning models, AI models, always has been, you have to train data, you have to have a team of data scientists to do it. But today, we all know with Gen AI how accessible that is.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
one of the
exactly.
biggest reasons why everyone is going crazy over it. Yeah.
Yeah. And based on the things that we have seen, so we attended knowledge, we all went to the keynote and saw the wonderful things that
Mhm.
we we were able to do. It can also the creator con keynote, like creating a flow out of the text. And again, so we've got a lot of things coming on that way as well, like creating an application through text.
Even
So yeah,
writing code. I think we all. I mean, developers, I think everybody will be able to relate to this, right? So when you're stuck writing a code, we're not able to remember what sort of structure we need to follow. I think Gen AI comes into picture for the developers as well, which I think we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But again,
Right.
it can write the scripts for you. So what better can you expect uh, the AI to do, rather just writing the code for you when you actually go to Google, try and search, put the variable names in for you. But now you've got all of that handy with Gen AI doing its
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen it, that one is text to code. And like I shared in the previous conversation with I had on one of the podcasts, people, I know many of you are experts here, but somebody coming to the ServiceNow ecosystem and somebody who doesn't really know code, you might have forgotten how overwhelming that is, right? Where business rules, client scripts, script includes client ajax. You want to incorporate all these functions is not easy. So with what happens with code assist is that it is actually um, based on ServiceNow's large language model, and their large language model is based on the base version on Star Coder base. So that's on Big Code and Hugging Face. It's a publicly accessible model, but we've built on top of that to incorporate some of these large language models that is specific to ServiceNow as well. So the number that I have here is a 30% improvement versus ChatGPT for correctly generated glide code. If many of you have tried going to ChatGPT, asking them how do I incorporate these functions, sometimes you see that that doesn't really apply to the code that
The
you're
pro-
writing, right?
yeah,
Sometimes they add object models in that inside there. Some of the prototypes in there don't seem so applicable to the ServiceNow ecosystem. But having our own large language model that is specific to ServiceNow, that's where it really comes in. And this one I can share, I believe. So it's something like this. Um, yeah, if you want to pull that one up, where so this is just a click through. I have a live instance, but I'm just not going to risk it right now. If you have if with this, it's called Now Assist for Creators. It's on the ServiceNow store already, but it might not be available for every customer right now. So once you have this, you will be able to within your screen here, right? Like if I'm adding a new business rule, and I can just choose my table here. And previously, what you had before, you go into my advanced tab and write my code here. But what's going to happen now is that once you've installed that, you'll see here there is a trigger AI, which means that if you press Command Enter, Control Enter after you put in a comment, then that will query our large language model, it run through what exactly is the user asking for and give you some suggestions of that. And really, you have the choice to say accept suggestion or dismiss the suggestions, and this will further train the models as well. So if I go into this one and I say that, hey, I'm going to type in this particular prompt, right? So with this prompt, then once I click on my command enter, then this particular line all comes to me with the payload. Sorry, not payload, with the code here. If I want to, I can accept it, right? Or I can
yeah,
accept certain parts of it as well. So just the productivity gains or the productivity increases that you get from this would be just huge, right?
yeah,
I know at the start of all of this, if you remember this all coming here, the first version of this was Scribe Monster. Do you all remember that? I think Jace created a
yeah,
Chrome
yeah,
extension, Scribe
yeah,
Monster,
yeah.
and we were all, wow, that was awesome, and that really is awesome. But now we were saying that instead of going to OpenAI,
Mm.
this will query a ServiceNow large language models to pick up the more accurate code for you, to pick out all these different or to complete this code for you a lot quicker than you would have to figure out the prompt on ChatGPT and then ask them specifically, oh, this does not work. Troubleshooting is a lot faster here as well. So it's just only going to get better, right? Of course, with more of our training data, more of the model reference points is just going to get a lot quicker here. Yeah. So this was that part about text to code that's going to come in. There are a few more things as well, text to flow and a few others. We can talk about this as we go along.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like as we just saw, like there's another like we all know, OpenAI has been there, but many of the companies are basically, just off because of the security reasons. They're not allowing the, openly to everyone to use the OpenAI and basically Chat GPT to get these codes generated or use it for other items. But now with Gen AI, ServiceNow Gen AI, it's
Mm.
baked into the platform, right? So we don't have to worry about that kind of security now. So that's another, I would say, like that's the benefit I can see, that we don't have to get any approvals. We are just using or leveraging the power of the platform, as I say quite a few times. But yeah,
It's just a very natural extension, right? I think we're all
yeah,
so excited because we see what it could be. Um,
yeah,
Today we all have ideas a bit here and there, but
mm,
there's just so many ways this could go, and
yeah,
given how creative the platform could be, and
yeah,
how it's really up to us which
mm,
direction that we want to take Gen AI on the platform, and that's where customers are most excited. Those who have used the platform for a while,
mm,
they get it, they get that. Hey, if I have someone new ramping up, the guy will be so much quicker.
yeah,
And then again, it's just focusing on the developer. For us, we are looking at a few different personas. We look at the developer, we look at the system administrator as well, right? We look at the customers, the agents, and employees. Basically, every stakeholder, everyone who touches the ServiceNow platform should, in one way or another, get to start to benefit from Gen AI,
yeah.
assisting them in their work. And it's really quality of life and the speed, efficiency of what they can do as well.
And one of the things that's you mentioned Glide Ajax, right? I think it's the most asked question on
Oh man.
community as well.
Oh man,
So
every time I try that, I just go to that same ServiceNow article and community probably
yeah.
again.
So we've all been there, right? Even today, you might even I might go there and search how to populate line manager for a particular user.
To be fair, I haven't tested how well our text code does it. Maybe it's a good experiment for me to try after this. Yeah.
I think adding to that, right? I think we might not be using the again, sorry, we sometimes get away from that best practices and just use get reference, right? Again, when you're
Mm,
using these kind of generative AI solutions, it's giving you the right solution as well. It's based on ServiceNow's best practices as well. So obviously, definitely a good impact area for the developers.
right, right. Yeah, at every level, I see there's some benefits there. If you're, like I mentioned, someone who's new, huge benefit. Someone who is experienced as well, it also might help because they forgot the fundamentals sometimes. So that might help. I don't know. We'll
Don't
see.
need to think about variable names, which is the best thing.
Oh,
It just
I just hope
generated
that
the
the
variable
model
names.
doesn't come with a GR as a variable.
I
That would be hell. But
wouldn't
yeah.
want that. So, Shah, I think we've got a question in the chat. Does it mean the developers needs to learn the GPT prompt conversations, or we can just use more natural language with GI in service now?
So what's been happening for a while now, and I'm fairly confident I can share this. I can't share any of the screens or anything, but that there we have had a code assist within ServiceNow where I think people are invited to review all the code that they find on the different forums, community, everything, everywhere else, right? And you start to describe what the prompt does, or also what that piece of code does. So that has been going into the training set for our LLM. And that is why the accuracy is there in the first place, because it's training against someone who's interpreting ServiceNow code, ServiceNow specific code, and able to tell you exactly what that piece of code is doing. So what this translates into is now you have natural language that is domain specific to ServiceNow, and really that would be then that benefit of not having to go through a prompt engineering course using ServiceNow LLM, right? It has to be domain specific, and that's where that particular training has been in fact for some time. It's just going to start increasing in accuracy as well, I believe, through time. Were you all aware of that? Such a thing was happening?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Yeah. So that's been happening for a while.
I think Shah, we've obviously covered this from a developer's perspective. It's
Mhm.
good to know that we've got these many features coming in for developers. But I think you also mentioned that there will be features available for no code sort of uh, personas as well, wherein the business process owners or the BAs themselves would be able to do certain aspects on the platform. Would you like to cover what those would be?
Yeah, let me just see if I can pull up another screen here.
Yeah, we.
Um, Sorry, I don't think I can do it as well. Let me just share a bit. So acknowledge, I think they review text to app,
Yeah.
right? And they also reviewed Creator Studio. So if you're familiar with App Engine Studio today, that's still going to be there, but they're going to release an even lighter version of that they call Creator Studio. And what's that going to be is that you can ask them to create a specific application for a use case, and what should happen is that it will then create an application of your prompt, right? So that will be the experience
Oh,
going forward, and what we see for the no coders. There isn't a set timeline for that release yet. It still says future on my screen here. Um, but yeah, I know the team is working on something like this, um, for the low coders or the no coders to start building very simple applications out of that. Maybe a catalog item, record producers, taking in the inputs from the user. Say, hey, I need a form that I can take in a travel request. So then they'll come up with the destination. They can have a start date, end day of travel, and how much you're going to spend and things like that, right? So that will be living alongside the low code or no code developer to help them accelerate their low code applications. Yeah, and yeah, just an extension to that, applicable to both the developers as well as the no coders as well. There's going to be Flow Assist. So Flow Assist is also going to be released pretty soon. uh, and that one is where they give you a next best action in the chain of workflows, right? So if I'm going to say that I need to create a alert based workflow or notification based workflow, then it can automatically prompt me that, hey, maybe it's best for you to use Microsoft Teams message.
okay.
Maybe it's best for you to use the email prompt, and these are the common actions that you should consider in the flows that you're building, in this particular flow that you're building. Yeah, so that's something that we review and knowledge as well.
So, Shah, how does it do it? Like from a flow perspective, do we need to give the command, or is it when we're creating the actions that will prompt us saying that, these, again, if you're trying to build a Slack integration, the
Right.
spoke is already available.
Yeah, so I can, this link, can you guys access this link? Let me see if we can put it up.
Sure.
Yeah, so that is on that's on our product documentation today. Is that accessible by you, by both of you?
Yeah, you can access. I
Yeah. So
can.
maybe I can throw up the screen as well. Uh, Something like this, right? So where it's now assist recommendations. I don't think we already covered this, but now assist is going to be the core family name for most of
Yeah.
the Gen AI stuff in
Yeah.
ServiceNow. Like code assist, now assist. So the assist is that terminology that we're using going forward. But yeah, so you have here where whenever you create item, then contextually they will be able to pick up that what are the next best recommended actions for you. Is it create record, create task, look up record, and so on. Obviously,
Right.
this needs some testing. I haven't tested it myself, but I think it'll be a great productivity gain as well, especially for that person who's new to this, right? Having to go through ServiceNow the entire list can be a bit overwhelming. Yeah, so this would be a great way to help and assist the user. Yeah, so this is on the documentation side. Have a read at it. I think it's just one page that we have here for now.
Yeah,
It's
and
amazing.
just we have been talking about the maturity as well. So, like talking about flow, right? That there was, I think, 5 odd years back, or maybe a little more, flows were launched. They were like pretty laggy, but over the time they have grown pretty. They've become smooth. They've become faster and quicker and better with new capabilities coming in. So that's what happens with every product that comes out, and I think it's gonna be the same way with Now Assist as well. So bringing on all the.
Definitely, definitely. Really exciting things to come. Those that you've seen there is just the start of things, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's just also so just a quick sidetrack, right? I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I was on TikTok the other day. I was scrolling through, and then I saw one video where the guy was sharing that now there's a Jarvis for your computers with ChatGPT. Have you seen that?
Haven't.
Mm.
Yeah,
Haven't.
so at the terminal level, they can give access to ChatGPT to the entire computer.
Okay.
So you can tell the computer, hey, I need you to look through all my files and tell me which are the ones that are have this specific item or reference there, and it can do that for you. I need to organize this entire folder, take out all the PNG files, and then convert that into a PDF file, putting everything to one PDF. And they'll do it for you by downloading the libraries that do that. So that really is that Jarvis level, right? And for me, this is nothing to do with service now, but I mean from the product direction. But I'm just thinking, are we ever going to go that direction where we give them full control of the platform and they can do everything there? It's a bit far fetched. I know it won't happen.
Yeah.
But that's just a thought. Yeah, right. That level of automation, can that ever be possible?
I think this brings up another question from a security perspective as well, right?
Right.
Just the example that you've taken. Again, we have got positive aspects of utilizing Gen AI to do things that can I mean, really help us. But again, things can go wrong as well, and it may start doing something on our computers which we don't want to, right? So obviously, pros and cons.
Yeah.
Um, Again, Shao, I think it will be an interesting one. Maybe if you've got that link, if you're able to find how exactly does that work, I think it'll be good
I've
to
been
see later.
struggling to find it. You know, with TikTok, once I go through it, I can't find it anymore.
Okay.
But to your point, right? That security, one of the key things, and if you see the article and the link there next to my I think it's here. Is it this one? Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the points brought up inside there was automation bias. And if you haven't gone through the article, it's really good. Spend some time read it. It should take you less than 10 minutes every day. A lot of good points brought out there by the true experts of AI. But one of the things inside there they have is automation bias. Just one level before security.
Okay.
If I quote from the article, it says that this is the thinking the machine is actually as intelligent as us and anthropomizing the AI. So an AI system can be very good at some things, but it doesn't have the same kind of intelligence as we do, and it's probably less intelligent in important ways. So we need to use our judgment. So before we even get to security, if the user has automation bias, you trust the system so much that you just click on whatever they recommend, right? That human judgment still has to be there. And even before we think about security, we need to think about the person who we're building this particular functionality or capability for. I thought that was a very important thing that we often overlook, because now we're so hot on technology and we're worried about security, but we haven't even thought about the person who's using this technology yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um, I think we've covered two personas so far, which is obviously very interesting to know. I think we've seen from a developer's perspective what exactly is coming on the platform, how it will help you create
Mm-hmm.
scripts. I think we've also seen from a, more on the no code kind of developers who should be able to create applications.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another unique use case is the flows. Again, you should be able to create actions based on what you want to create the flow on. So should we also talk about a little bit for the end users? So that's the third sort of persona who the actual platform users are going to be. So have we got any such things in the pipeline or already released as part of the current Gen AI controller, which impacts the end users as well?
100% definitely it's there in a big way. I think even more so than for developers. Um, really, I think this is the third time I'm saying this. It's all about the end user. We can build the best stuff and Gen AI can help us build the best stuff, but if the end user doesn't use it the right way, it doesn't make any sense. In the biggest way is of course summarization. And most of my use cases that I speak to customers so far, where they're asking me about touches summarization in some way. uh, I think I'm in this because you saw the YouTube video that I posted as well about airport operations, right? So
Yeah.
there was a
Yes.
real use case that one of our customers asked us about, because they have so many things happening in the airport. So imagine in the airport context, there are toilet outages, there are people falling down, there are aircrafts that are delayed, there are people who are angry and causing a fight, there's people being dragged off planes. So these things are all happening, but everybody's reporting it in a different channel. And for them, it was some of them use Excel to report that, some of them were reporting it via a 20-year-old FMS system that they have, and some of them were just sending WhatsApp messages, right? So for them not having a single channel to consolidate all these different entries was a really huge problem. So making sense of in terms of timeline, how these things happening, what is the overall resolution, what's the root cause, that is another level of complexity that they had to go through, and without knowing that complexity, or being able to make their way through the complexity, they can't learn from the mistakes, they can't learn how to make things better, right? Which is why they can't improve as fast. So now with the capability of Gen AI, that what I envision that they will be using it for is that when they have an event, they can have use ServiceNow as the central system to enter all these different events, and then you can tell ServiceNow, hey, Gen AI, look through all these different events, look at the description, look at the timing, look at all these variables. We can pass it into Gen AI, and they can pick out that, oh, based on these, this was the first event that happened. We concluded this caused a chain of events that followed that. And within that, this was the turning point of this event or things like that, right? So Gen AI is the assistant to the user. So I like to imagine most of the time that when you employ Gen AI, you're just employing another employee, the company who knows everybody, knows everything, has read through all the knowledge base articles, and has lived from the company since day one. They, and I mean, depending whether you have the data on ServiceNow or not. So summarization is that first thing that helps a lot of users. So not only in this perspective, I think summarization is already making its way into our workspaces, um, where they can summarize, for example, a customer case, right? So case, what's all the in terms when I'm chatting with the end user or the customer, can pick out all the different items that they come up with things like how are they feeling? Are they incredibly frustrated? Are they angry? Are they happy? And what should be my steps of resolution based on other cases that have happened like that in the past? So this unstructured way of giving user inputs, right? That is just gold. It's just someone else there sitting beside you, telling you that, oh, it's guiding you on the job training. That part of the job is taken care of by Gen AI. But again, back to the original point of automation bias, always keep that in mind as well, right? So yeah, that would be one of the biggest ways that the end users would benefit in the ServiceNow context. And just before I let it back to you, there's another one for content generation. So I think one of the use cases was knowledge based article generation.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something that's happening. So response generation, work note generation, knowledge based article generation, that's all part of content generation within the Vancouver release for our Gen AI controller.
I think this reminds me that I was on one of the booths at Knowledge. Again, this
Mhm.
was a particular use case developed by one of the Accenture colleagues. So what they've built is again exact the same thing from a knowledge article perspective. So understanding the sentiments from the incident, trying to gather the kind of pain points that the user had stated, and again what was the sort of solution that the um, the agent gave, and creating a consolidated article out of it. Again, a very good example of how the Gen AI can be utilized to summarize what the problem is, and again creating an article automatically
Mhm.
at the back of it.
Mhm.
So obviously, yes, I think definitely ServiceNow is thinking about all of those aspects. So even from an end user perspective, how do we automate
Right.
these specific areas? Um, and again, I think we do create articles manually as well, right? At the back of incidents, whenever we see that there's a surge of things that have
Right.
happened. So again, Gen AI coming into picture and doing it automatically for you, it's definitely going to be a game changer, at least
Mhm.
in some of these spaces that I've seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even for virtual agent, right? So like,
Correct.
like usually like the way we build flows is, okay, so you're facing this issue, so can you do this? Okay, does that help? No. then we suggest something, then we suggest something. We have to build those questions and answers. But I feel once we have that Gen AI thing integrated and running up and running in the virtual agent, so it can probably predict 4 or 5 questions automatically. So if I type in laptop issue, I haven't used it, but it just coming to my mind. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's ask like 4 or 5 questions, and then the sixth thing it does is transfer to a live agent if the issue is still not resolved. you know so
Yep.
with
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right, right? In virtual agent, it's very powerful, but it's always been very much rule based. As
Yep.
much as the natural language understanding, that still
Mm.
leads you to one of X number of outcomes.
Yep.
But with Gen AI, we get over that hump, the hump that has always been very hard thing to solve. And
Yep.
having I okay, so I've this year I have done 4 hackathons already. I didn't take part in hackathons. I've seen people do hackathons,
Okay.
and I think about at least 30% of the hackathon use cases was someone building a chatbot with Gen AI, right? And most of the use cases, while they were impressive, it was very limited in scope. So I can chat with Gen AI using virtual agent, but that's just about it. So I can say, "Hi, how are you?" And I have a conversation with my virtual agent chatbot. But now we flip that, and having that experience and having the context of your ServiceNow instance, having all the data there, all your knowledge base articles, that is really the mecca or the utopia that we've been trying to go after. And that's just one of the things that are very quick wins. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Shah, when we talk about giving the context of the platform, again, maybe the same aspect that we're talking about, giving the context of the platform. So it always remains in the platform, right? Specifically for the customer, it never goes outside. The platform isn't shared between the customers.
Mhm.
That is how it works, right?
For the large language models, that is the idea. Um, so I just But with Gen AI controller, you still have the ability to connect, like I mentioned earlier on, to the two different ones, OpenAI as well as Azure now, right? So that
Okay,
in those methods, those will go outside of the ServiceNow instance. But for large language models, that should be self-contained within ServiceNow. I do have a
perfect.
diagram here, but again, I can't share it, unfortunately. I'm just gonna put it.
So shall we understand? You in a situation we don't want to put you under the this sharing stuff which you can't. So we've all been there.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm used to it. I work in pre-sales. Things don't work well. Just to put on a smile and everything will be okay. But yeah, to your point, yes, you can choose which parts. So the idea behind this again is still very nascent. So saying it is either A or B, I can't give you the guarantee right now, and I don't have the backing of the product team to tell me what to say. But my personal view is that yeah, you can still use um, external LLMs like ChatGPT, GPT 3.5, for whatever other models out there are for the more non-sensitive data, right?
Yep.
But for the sensitive data wise, then you might think of using ServiceNow's LLM, or I don't know, maybe there is a way for you to incorporate your own LLM into the instance as well. Um, yeah, so that should be the way to think about things at the current moment. That's as far as what I know. That's the message that we've been giving to our customers as well.
Makes sense. I think this would bring in another big question around the governance bit as well, around how do we utilize Gen AI products in the platform? Does it always go through a review when you've maybe created an article, created a code, created a flow at the back of it? I think a lot of governance might be required until people are quite comfortable using everything that works
Mm-hmm.
out of the box with the Gen AI.
Right. Um, yeah. So there is the whole idea about for governance. It's also about trust, right? Half of governance is trust. So being able to explain how the model or how Gen AI came up to a certain conclusion or a certain outcome, it still needs to be there to live alongside the user. So they need to be able to understand and interpret what AI has done. But in terms of governance wise, today I still haven't seen much about that layer because again, granted, it's quite new. But just
Exactly.
back to our whole idea of governance for low code applications, even that has been forefront and top of mind for us as well as our customers, right? So definitely that has to be included in any strategy that you have. How are you going to govern knowledge based articles, going through the standard approval process, the flows, you need to test those that are right, the code. It's a lot to be done. Still very early for these things, but yes, governance should always be front and center into the strategies that you deploy.
Makes a lot
Um,
of sense.
so while that's happening, I just wanted to drop another link here. So if you want to take a look at some of these demos that we've been talking about through this session as well, you can do so with that link there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Shao. Um, I think we are almost there. I think we'll open up for the questions as well. So the people who are watching this session, again, if they've got any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to take them. So a funny question, Shao, though. And again, I think a lot of developers who write code usually ask this. So are their jobs in are they going to get extended? I mean, would their jobs be no longer be there when a Gen AI completely takes over? So what are your thoughts on those areas? That's a funny question, I know.
So I was listening to this podcast today while I was on the plane. So I just came back from Kuala Lumpur today. I was just listening to the podcast on exactly the same thing. I mean, everyone is fearful. Um, and the I can't remember the exact quote that he said, but it was basically is Gen AI can take our jobs, but they shouldn't take our paychecks, something like that along the lines, right? So eventually, I see that this would be somehow taking over your jobs is it's a little bit of an overstatement because I still feel that yes, while they can do a lot of the core duties that you can, then now it's time for you to level up. And this is a conversation that we have with customers often. It's time for you to level up and think about how can you add value beyond just being able to write code and understand how code is being incorporated in the applications that you build. So it remains to be seen whether it takes your job or not. I don't think you have anything to fear for the short term, but when it comes long term, everyone should fear because one way or another, if there's no incremental value to yourself as a person, no matter what job you're in, some form of technology will eventually take over. So it's a
Yeah.
natural
Absolutely.
progression of life.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Chow. Like seriously, like it's not just related to one thing. It's like a overall thing that you just summarize in one line that you need to keep progressing. So nice.
I think these kind of tools are there to assist you. I think we use the word assist a lot, right? These are there to empower you to learn new things, to do the things right. But again, obviously, as you said, Shao, I think I completely agree with that view as well. Again, it's not going to take up your job unless, I mean, if you are if you are growing yourself, obviously these things are just there to support you. But again, you don't get out of your job if you are doing a good work. So
Yeah, I mean, there are also have been reports about which of the industries or which of the professions are most affected by Gen AI. So I don't remember seeing developer as the top one of the top 10 items there. So
So
so as an independent study, I don't think we have anything to fear from that perspective on. But it'll make its way down, right? So right now it's all the very knowledge based ones,
mm,
knowledge based industries, because you now have the power to have that information so quickly. That those are the few industries that are the first in terms of disruption.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, even the creative. So I was just driving past to the with the Uber driver the other day, and he
Hmm?
was talking to me like he used to do marketing and develop all that creative stuff.
Yeah.
So preparing banners, posters, like digital ones. So and he was looking for a job. So he was just training himself in a particular, and he told me that due to this all this AI thing that have come in, he's started to get a lot the business had reduced because people are just opting, subscription for these particular like our options that are available there,
Mm,
and you're not coming up because they take their own time. AI would just take 2 seconds to get you a creative, right?
right.
And we all know, like, it's out there, like, yeah, it just generates wonders, right? So
This
Absolutely.
whole thing about this whole thing for the arts or media,
yeah,
that surprised me the most though. Because outside of the world of service now, there's so much happening in for image generation, right?
yeah,
So things like image generation, video, even now we're moving into video generation using generative adversarial networks. And then if you go into even the realm of audio, s- things that I thought could never ever be done, I see it being done every day now. It's a bit worrying for me. My side hobby is music production. I'm a big fan. I've been making music on my own for some time. Um, and the other day I was just including prompts into a system that's able to generate out a complete score for me, find the right samples, put everything into one piece. That part has been crazy, really eye opening. Yeah, so I have the list here, the five sectors most affected by generative AI: media and entertainment, education, advertising, healthcare, and finance. So the developers here don't have to worry for at least the next year.
Awesome.
nice.
I think this has been a really good session. I think
Don't have.
definitely quite informative as well, understanding a lot of those aspects. And it's good to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm just apologize that I couldn't get some of these screens up. Next time we'll get it better.
All good, all good. And if anyone wants to catch up with Chao, so you just need to go to one of the ServiceNow Singapore developer meetups. So they do it hybrid, and you can definitely have a chat or catch up with Chao. And you can also connect on LinkedIn. We can put the link in there as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, do come to our
Ishan.
dev meetups. Ishan
Yeah,
is a fixture there. Welcome fixture in our meetups.
yeah, with a lot of technical glitches and network issues.
It happens. All right.
All right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's time to wrap up. So
All right.
thank you again, Shao, for being here, and thanks, Ishan, as well.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Have a great day and go
Yeah.
forth and conquer with Gen AI. See you all soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you,
nice
everyone.
evening. Bye.